Remember, the Congress has been highly ambivalent on the issue of whether they'll bring Article 370
some
back.
of the Congress leaders behind closed doors are actually saying that they are ideologically positioned themselves to bring back 370.
But they haven't committed this.
They are not committing it in public because it is going to push
back. Sure, but they haven't committed.
But they want to go ahead and that
So what I want to do is I want to do some scenario building, and I'll explain why we're going to do this. I'll show you what's happened. We're calling this a marginal seat analysis, and this is very important because when you do a post-poll study, you go out to each seat, you sample respondents in that seat, and sometimes the responses that you come back with show just a 5% gap between the party that's in the lead and the party that's coming in at number 2. Now, if the gap is only 5%, frankly, on counting day, that seat can go in either direction. So we did some marginal seat analysis, and I'll build 2 scenarios. So the poll suggests that there are 18 seats in Jammu and Kashmir which are marginal seats. So that's the total number of marginal seats out of 90. Now there are 2 scenarios that can be built. One, if all marginal seats go towards the anti-incumbent. The anti-incumbent in Jammu, the incumbent is BJP, so the anti-incumbent would be anti-BJP. In the Kashmir Valley, the incumbent is the PDP, so the anti-incumbent is the NC Congress alliance. So if all seats, which are marginal seats, go to the anti-incumbent, the India bloc could end up potentially between 48 to 56. This is what Omar Abdullah, Rahul Gandhi and the others would be hoping for, that 48 to 56 if the seats which are in margin go towards the anti-incumbent. 48 to 56, that's where they could end up. The BJP in this scenario could come down to between 24 and 29. This would be, of course, to the disadvantage of the BJP, where they come up between 24 to 29. This is scenario 1, where the PDP then comes down to between 2 and 8. So this is scenario 1, where the dice really rolls in favor of the India alliance. Scenario 2, if the marginal seats go towards the pro-incumbent, then what happens? If the marginal seats go towards the pro-incumbent, this is what Shehzad and the BJP are really hoping for. Then the India bloc is between 30 and 38. The BJP then could be between 30 and 35, potentially in position to be the number 1 party, and then with the help of some of the others and smaller parties potentially even form the government. The PDP between 12 to 18. This is where the PDP does well. So instead of picking up fewer seats like it did, the original projection is for 6 seats for the PDP. Here, they could be between 12 and 18, and the others could then be between 7 and 12. Otherwise, the others are only are much lesser than that. Rajdeep, that's the marginal seat analysis.
In all these scenarios, we are expecting MLAs or those who are chosen to power from the Kashmir Valley to back the BJP and back a BJP chief minister, which is, of course, what Shehzad is hoping for. And he has every reason to hope. Umeed par duniya kaam hai. And there will be those, importantly, who will say you need bridge builders. Representatives of Jammu and representatives of the valley coming together. But in all these 3 scenarios, in all the scenarios at the moment, the India alliance, that's why I think that was important that he, maybe as a slip of the tongue said, we are all part of the India alliance. I think the India alliance and Rahul Gandhi's so-called Mohabbat ki Dukan, or what he calls a Mohabbat ki Dukan, this is where he has to make it work. This is where he has to also reach out perhaps and ensure that you have a deputy chief minister possibly from Jammu, if these numbers hold, and the Congress is in a position to have a few seats from Jammu, make sure your deputy chief minister is from Jammu. So even if, I think the cards at the moment are stacked in favor of the India alliance with these numbers. Mehbooba Mufti will find it extremely difficult to go with the BJP. Any legislator today in the Kashmir Valley may find it difficult initially to go.
I'm not sure. It will depend on what happens on the 8th.
No, 3 to 6 months later,
Sir, it depends
3 to 6 months, things can change.
Can I come in?
Yeah,
I think BJP would want it to remain a hung assembly.
That's right.
Let there be a president rule for some time.
That's right.
Allow the eyes to melt to thaw between NC and the BJP also. See, Mr. Modi also has his own Mohabbat ki Dukan. He can also reach out to people across the aisle, by
and
the way.
He can promise them statehood. But
there is a bigger problem. While that is wishful thinking from your part, Omar Abdullah and the NC also realizes if they tie up with the BJP, they've seen what's happened to the PDP.
It's not going to happen instantly. It's not going to happen instantly.
But they've already seen how the PDP is finding it difficult to aankh se aankh milake with their voters and try and ask for their vote. People are disappointed. That's the harsh political reality.
She has actually set a very bad example politically speaking.
No, but I think what Rajat said makes sense. There is one possibility. if this is a hung, if it's badly hung.
Yeah, because
you see, badly hung, and my friend Shehzad was right, I was wrong.
Yeah,
there are
95.
5 seats, not 4 from the LG, so you're talking about 95. So I need 48. I need 48 to have a clear house. You know, there are question marks over whether this assembly also has only the powers of a municipality. And at some stage, maybe post-8, we need to look at that, because that is also troubling in its own way. These are the complexities of Jammu and Kashmir. But, Rahul, if no party gets 40 plus, which means I need 8 more, 9 more to form a government, it's very possible that you'll have president's rule, assembly put in suspended animation for now, president's rule, and then give 2 to 3 months for all sides to melt away their differences. Who knows? NC, BJP. Fact is that statehood will be on the plate then. Easier to give statehood and say, look, I'm going along with the BJP because they're giving statehood. That could be a promise made to NC, could be made to Mehbooba, more unlikely given the sharp divergences that exist on core issues between the BJP and the PDP. But the NC is always there. You yourself said that in 2014 there was an attempt made to bring the two together.
This is a clip that I shot in Shopur. My dad commanded a regiment not far from there. When an army cavalcade, Rajdeep, used to pass from Shopur, they would be extra alert because at any point in time they could get fired at. Just look at those crowds. There are hundreds of people coming out. The shops are open till late in the evening. They're campaigning without fear. As we look at these numbers and wait for the final result in the 8th, let's also for a moment celebrate the fact that law and order is substantially better. This is a very changed spectre of what we are seeing in Kashmir. The BJP calls this Naya Kashmir. Several things still left to be done, but several gains as well. And this is really the moment when you capitalize on the gains by restoring statehood at the earliest possible, which is what Messrs. Modi, Shah, Ram Madhav and the others have promised. This is when they need to deliver on that promise.
Can I have one line?
Yes, of course.
If the alliance of NC Congress gets less than 47 seats, they should accept it as a mandate not for them, but for, in fact, the governor's rule.
Shehzad Punawala
is really clutching at straws by saying that.
या तो मेन दरवाजे से एंट्री हो जाए,
straws.
नहीं तो खिड़की से एंट्री हो जाए, कहीं से भी एंट्री हो जाए.
But Shehzad, you just said 10 minutes ago that there's going to be the CM
We
from
are
the
discussing
Bharatiya
all
Janata
possibilities.
Party.
Right now we are discussing the art of possible. It's a democratic newsroom, so I am trying
Fair
to
point.
engage your discussion.
How do you
also
see
by
these
giving
numbers,
you another
Preeti? How will these numbers be seen by the India Alliance in particular? Will they be seen as, if they get 40 plus, will they bring Mehbooba on board?
I would think, Rajdeep, the Congress would prefer to do business with the Mehbooba than the independents. That's what I feel. That's my gut. That the Congress would want, and I don't think that the NC would prefer to go with the independents.
Despite her strident stand on particular issues, for example, she's very clear that Article 370 has to be restored at the earliest, which cannot happen.
Rajdeep, we spoke to, if you remember, that the Bharat Jodo Yatra, which culminated in Kashmir. Now, I remember I was there and I spoke, there was Priyanka Gandhi, there was Rahul Gandhi, there was Mr. Khadge. On the left-hand side, there was Omar Abdullah. On the right-hand side, there was Mehbooba Mufti. At that point of time, there was a sense, at least with, what they told us, and, we spoke to them, and they said that they needed to bring them together. And Mehbooba Mufti and the Congress have enjoyed a fairly cordial relationship.
No, when we interviewed Mehbooba as well, she said that she hopes to be kingmaker.
Yeah.
So when we interviewed her in Kulgam, she said, I hope to be kingmaker. The only way you're kingmaker is if NC and Congress are short of a majority. That's when they need the PDP. And that's her real hope, that she gets to play the role of kingmaker. Omar Abdullah would much rather be clearly in pole position to form
because,
the government.
out of those 6 to 11, what if my friend Engineer Rashid has got 8?
Why is he your friend? Look at the venom he spews against India. Why is he your friend? How is he your friend? And why should he be your friend?
Look, when I use the word political friend, I don't invite him home for dinner, but he's been very warm to me in terms of explaining
No, not
khila pila. Over the years, and this goes back to over 2 decades, Engineer Rashid is one of the more...
He plays a very dangerous brand of politics, highly sectarian, pro-separatist. It's a very, very dangerous brand of politics Engineer Rashid plays.
Do you think the BJP will subscribe to that dangerous band of politics if there is a need to?
I don't know. Let me answer my Engineer Rashid question. Yes. Engineer Rashid is not about what he's never killed or pillowed me ever. If anything, I have killed or pillowed him because he's always come to me as if he's got no money in his pocket. So, look, I think Engineer Rashid, and I've known him for 20, 25 years, goes back to the late 90s, when he actually knocked on my door at 9 p.m. in Kashmir. And in those days, if you knocked at someone's door at 9 p.m. in Kashmir, you wondered who it was. Sure. But he was, to me, someone who never hid who he was. You could call him soft separatist, you want to call him separatist, that's up to you. He was very clear. He was going to contest elections within the constitution of this country. He won 2 elections as independents, and we know that's not easy in this country. He won an election in the Lok Sabha against a former chief minister and Sajjad Lone, again not easy. I was impressed by his connect with people, and that's what politicians are about. And when I say friend, I find friends in politicians who connect with people, because through them I learn a lot. I learn about what it is to be a politician. I think engineer Rashid has shown, and he's lasted the course. You know, he's not someone who's just come in for one election or what. He's now lasted 20 years. And as I said, because those numbers are showing 6 to 11, he could be.
No,
He could be also.
6 to 11 are not AIP. That includes
He could be.
People's
Fair
Conference,
point,
that
but
includes
Shehzad-
Altaf Bukhari, that includes...
Let me ask the question to Shehzad. But Shehzad, there a question first.
You want to defend me? I'm worried.
Will the BJP be open to doing business with Rashid? Engineer Rashid. That's the question I want to ask you. If he spews so much venom against India, will the BJP, when the D-Day comes, be open to doing business, or the doors are shut for good?
I don't do the hajamat of a baby that's not been born.
You can say no.
So
somebody who spews venom
I think the
against the
answer
country,
is
why
much
would
more
the BJP
intelligent
want
than
to
the
do
no
business
that
with
you're
that?
seeking from me or the yes that you're seeking from me.
I'm just
Answers are
seeking-
given in the way I desire. You have asked the question the way you desire. I'll answer it in the way I desire. And obviously that's how a democratic newsroom works. But having said that, Rajdeep can call Rashid engineer his friend. If Channi gets up and defends Amritpal Singh in parliament, I mean, Rajdeep is still doing a lesser sin.
No, different. Friend. Look, you know, when you cover Indian politics, you cover it as an observer. I have been very. How many independent candidates do we know, Rahul, who over 20 years
Lok Sabha
have won Lok Sabha, then build a party like he's just come. In fact, this is what he told me 2-3 days ago. He said,
Would you call Amritpal your friend?
No, I don't even. I've never met him. So you know, you're now. You know, engineer Rashid, a couple of days ago told me, had he had more time, remember he only got in after the first phase was over, he believes he could have structured a more cohesive alliance. And what is very interesting...
disagreeing with you, I want to disagree with you. The more time he would have got, the more he would have been exposed. He won the Lok Sabha elections because he was a bit of an X factor. He was in jail, he got sympathy. People said they took out their anger by voting for him.
Sure, we don't
the
know.
more he campaigned, the more he would potentially have got exposed.
We don't know that because his critics all attacked him as a B team of the BJP. You know, Omar Abdullah called him B team of the BJP, Mehbooba Mufti called him. We don't know how that's played out on the ground. We still don't know. The fact is, and that's why Kashmir is complex. You've got people there who don't want the traditional valley parties either. They're looking for change. In this vote somewhere, in the numbers, I think the real story is the others going up is a sign people want change. They're tired.
Exactly what I said.
Yeah, but that change, they don't see Bharatiya Janata Party representing that change because it is seen whether Shehzad likes it or not in the valley, and I must call a spade, it's seen as a Hindu party. It's seen as a party that has downsized India's only Muslim majority state to a union territory. On the other hand, the valley parties, traditional valley parties, are seen as dinners who've exploited them for years, and they're looking for options.
So we'll slip into
that's
a break
the
right
reality.
now. Kashmir and its politics is so fraught with complexity and layers that we can be here all evening discussing Kashmir. That's just how fascinated we are by the politics of Kashmir.